They said he was done, not just fans, not just critics. The entire world of football started asking the same question. Is this finally the end? Because for once, Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't answering with goals. He was answering with silence, and in football, silence is dangerous because silence means doubt, and doubt spreads faster than any highlight ever could. But what happened next wasn't supposed to happen. Not at his age, not under this pressure, and definitely not when the whole world was waiting for him to fail. Before this match, something strange was happening. Every headline, every discussion, every debate. It wasn't about Portugal, it wasn't about tactics, it was about one man, Cristiano Ronaldo. And it wasn't just criticism anymore. It was expectation of decline. Pundits weren't asking what he would do. They were asking why he was still there. Every slow touch became a headline. Every missed chance became evidence. Every quiet game became a question. Is football finally moving on from him? Some said his time had passed. Some said Portugal looked faster without him. And some didn't even hide it anymore. They said it out loud. He's finished. And the worst part? For once, Ronaldo couldn't answer back because football had gone quiet for him. No spotlight. No decisive moment. Just pressure. Building. Day after day, even in training sessions, cameras weren't looking for brilliance anymore. They were looking for decline. Imagine that. 41 years old. 143 goals for your country. 5 Ballon d'Or awards. The greatest goal-scoring streak in champions. League history, a man who built his entire identity on proving people wrong. Now waking up to headlines saying there is nothing left to prove. And yet, after one poor match at a World Cup, you wake up feeling like everything you built, every record, every legacy, every reason for existing at this level has been erased. The noise wasn't just criticism, it was erasure. 3 shots. 0 on target. 25 touches. His lowest in a full World Cup match in his entire international career. A draw when the world needed dominance, and for the first time in a decade of competitions. The greatest goalscorer of a generation sat in the post-match silence and thought, maybe they're right about me. And that silence didn't stay in the stadium. It followed him, into the tunnel, into the hotel room, into the early morning training. Sessions where everything feels heavier than it should, because the worst part of doubt isn't hearing it from others. It's starting to hear it in your own thoughts. Then came the match before this. 1. And it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, it was worse, it was quiet disappointment. No impact. No. Breakthrough, just 90 minutes. That felt heavier than they looked. And while other stars were shining in different games. Mbappé was scoring. Messi was making headlines. Social media didn't wait, comparisons returned instantly. And this time, it felt louder. Because even his biggest supporters started to wonder, is this really the end of an era? Ronaldo walked off that pitch with something unfamiliar. Not anger, not celebration, just silence. The kind that stays with you, the kind that follows you into the next game. The kind that sits in the dressing room long after. Everyone leaves, but here's where the story takes a turn that nobody expected, because pressure doesn't always break a man. Sometimes it wakes him up. And something shifted before the next. Match not in the headlines, not in the fans, but in him. You could see it in the tunnel, in the way he adjusted his sleeves, in the way he stared straight ahead without reacting to anything around him. This wasn't frustration anymore, it was focus. And from the first whistle, you could feel it. This wasn't the same player from the last match. This was something else entirely. Every touch sharper, every movement more intentional. Every run carrying weight, not desperation, but control, and slowly the game began to change. First chance, and he strikes, not just a goal, but a release. The stadium doesn't explode immediately, it freezes for half a second. Like even the crowd needs time to understand what just happened. Then the noise hits. Then belief returns. And then it happens again. Another run, another finish. Another moment where the world expected hesitation and got certainty. Instead, at this point, it wasn't just about scoring. It was about rewriting the mood of the entire tournament. Because when Ronaldo finds rhythm, it doesn't just affect him. It changes Portugal. It changes the opposition. It changes the entire emotional temperature of the match. And as the goals kept coming, so did something else history Because what he was doing wasn't just about the match anymore, it was about time itself. Ronaldo had just become the first player in football history, in the entire recorded history of the World Cup, to score in 6 different tournaments. Think about that. Not just surviving eras, but dominating across them. Pelé, Maradona, Messi, different generations, different styles, different football worlds. None of them did it. Only him. And yet, he wasn't finished, because when momentum builds on belief, it becomes unstoppable. Portugal didn't just win. They overwhelmed your 0-0 scoreline. That doesn't just show dominance. It shows control from start to finish. And Ronaldo wasn't just part of it. He was the emotional center of it. Every attack seemed to pass through him. Every chance felt connected to him, even when he wasn't touching the ball. He was shaping the game by the final whistle. The stadium didn't feel like it had just watched a match. It felt like it had witnessed a correction. Not of form, but of narrative, the same voices that doubted him were now silent because football had seen this before. It had seen him fall, and it had seen him rise again, but somehow it still wasn't used to it. And afterward, when the cameras found him and asked what had changed, what had flipped in those 72 hours of darkness, he gave an answer that was part defiance, part relief, part gratitude. I'm back. Not, I'm back to win the World Cup. Not, I'm back to break more records. Just, I'm back. The DR Congo match will fade. The dark times will become a footnote. But this moment when a 41-year-old man was asked to choose between accepting defeat or proving the world wrong, and he chose to prove them wrong, this will be remembered in the end. That's what separated Cristiano Ronaldo from every other legend who retired when the criticism got loud. He didn't retire into his legend, he lived into it. Yet, and if you made it this far, you already know what kind of player Cristiano Ronaldo is. Not just a footballer, but a reminder that pressure doesn't end greatness. It reveals it if you're a true Ronaldo fan. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who still believes in his story. Because every legend has moments where the world doubts them. But only a few come back to change the story again. And if you want more emotional football stories like this, you already know where to find them.